If they never heard, you can tell them that we here now. If they never heard, you can tell them that we here now. Most High with me, nothing I should fear now. Most High with me, nothing I should fear now. If they never heard, you can tell them that we here now. If they never heard, you can tell them that we here now. Most High with me, nothing I should fear now. Whoever got an ear, let them listen.
Say our praises to our higher in the name of Yeshua. Before we go into the lesson, I want to just give a couple announcements on the Feast of Purim. After the lesson, before we leave, because we were supposed to do the name drawing from last week, but because of the time, we weren't able to do that. So when we finish the lesson, please do not leave. My wife will be going around giving a blank piece of paper, okay? This paper is for you to write down your name. When you write down your name, my wife is going to come around again, give it to my wife, and she's going to come around a third time, and then everyone who wrote down your name will be able to pick from that pile of names. And whichever name that you pick, that's the person that you will be buying a Purim gift for. If you don't want to participate in it, it's fine. If you're not able to, it's fine. Okay? If you are, all praises to the Most High. If you're not, it's fine, and don't feel any way. Nobody ain't going to be looking at you in any sort of kind of way, because, you know, we all got issues, you know what I'm saying? We got to deal with. Okay? So, if you don't want to participate, you don't have to take, don't put your name and don't take anybody's name. Okay? But if you would like to, put your name and also take a name as well, all right? For the person that you're going to buy a gift for. Okay? One more other thing. That's about it. Oh yeah, Purim. We will be keeping it here. We will be keeping it here. And as I was saying last week, it's not going to be this Saturday coming up. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. It's going to be, the Purim is like the 22nd to the 25th.
27th.
The 20 what?
The 27th.
The 27th is, we're going to be keeping it on the 27th. Okay, right. That's the date I'm looking for. So we're going to be, Purim is actually on during the week. The date is, I think it's Wednesday or Tuesday in the week. So on that day, you just do Purim with your immediate family. So you have your children, whatever the case is, siblings. If you know they believe in the same thing that you believe in, you buy. Even if they don't believe in it, just buy a gift. If they ask why, that's the door to explain why. You understand? You buy, you spend that day for you and your immediate family. Saturday now when we come here, then we can be able to celebrate Purim together. Okay? So, one moment. What else? Yeah, so I know we're going to be keeping it here, and as I said, I'm going to be sending out the texts. You all know the regular for the feast days, the regular routine. Just bring an item. But I'll be reminding everybody, okay, and just to let everybody know, just to bring one item, and and then we'll just be able to enjoy the feast. Okay.
Does it have to be vegan? Is it vegan-based now? Vegan or just vegetarian?
You know what? Whatever you're comfortable with. Because I know brothers and sisters here are still transitioning.
It's getting hard now.
Well, I know that. And I'll tell you this. Do me a favor, Giovanni, come here for a second. Just answer this and talk to this brother. Please. As I said, I know we're all still in transition. So whatever you feel like bringing. I'm not gonna put, because the talk is going out there that we're trying to push this on people. Right? As I said, the only thing that I've ever pushed was drugs. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't pushing nothing on nobody. So whatever you feel comfortable with bringing, you bring. Okay? And that's it. All right? Okay, so with that, we got a lesson for you. We got a good lesson. All praises to the Most High. I know we all go into scriptures all the time, and we all, especially in the New Testament, and we see Christ in the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, talking about in the days of Noah. His coming is going to be, when he comes back, it's going to be like what happened in the days of Noah. You're going to see similar things happening right now that was happening in the days of Noah. Does anybody know really what happened in the days of Noah? other than the giants?
Homosexuality was at its pinnacle.
Homosexuality was at its pinnacle. Who was doing the sodomism back then? Who was doing the sodomy? Homosexual was going on back then. Who was doing it?
Like what nation is that?
Well, there wasn't really, there were nations yet. Yeah, but at that time, right? And I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to pick your brain to say, okay, if it was going on that, who was doing it? Because you had Cain around, you had Cain's family, you had Abel's family, and then you had the seed of the angels, the Nephilims, the giants. Who was dealing with Sodom? Right? It makes you start to think now, like to say, yeah, who?
Nations were, right? We're not many nations. Of the giants, obviously, were the Nephilim. But I think was there not many nations?
Well, at that time, before the flood, you remember, as I said, you had the family of Cain, you had the family of Abel, okay? They weren't nations yet, they were just families. And then you just had the Nephilims, the giants, right? And guess what? The giants, them, outnumbered men. The Nephilim, them, they outnumbered men during that time of Noah. So all of Seth's righteous seed and Cain's, the giants and the Nephilim, them outnumbered them. But we're going to show you. We're going to go into it and we're going to show you exactly what was going on before the flood, during the time of Noah. Okay, what they were dealing with. Who was doing these things? Okay, because Christ gave us some clues in the New Testament. When he says that, actually, you know what? Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Before we do get it though, I'm going to let you know the books that we're going to go into today. And before I do that anyway, I didn't even introduce myself, but my name is Brother Anaya, beside me is Brother Shabar, and we are the brothers of the Truth of Christchurch. Okay? This book we're going to go into the forgotten books of the Bible. Okay? The book of Adam and Eve, we're going to go in here concerning what was going on before the flood. Also, well, this is not the book that I purchased, but this is my copy of the Clementine homilies. Okay? So we'll be going into the homilies as well. Okay? As well as the King James Version Bible. Okay? Alright. Follow me. So the name of the lesson is called In the Days of Noah, right? Follow me to Luke 17 and 26.
Luke 17, verse 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all.
Read 27, verse 27 for me again.
Luke 17, verse 27. They did eat, they drank, they married wives.
So these are the clues that Christ was giving us. They did eat, they did drink, and they married wives. Right? But when we go into the Bible, when we go into Genesis 6, does Genesis 6 give you those details? No. Right? So now it leaves you skeptical to say, okay, what was going on? Because we don't really know what was really going back then. The Bible is not giving us all these details. Where do we go to find this out? Because Christ was giving us a clue. What book was Christ reading? We're going to find out. Okay, we're going to find out. But finish read verse 27 for me again.
Luke 17, verse 27. They did eat, they drank,
yes,
they married wives, they were given in marriage.
They were given in marriage, read.
Until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all.
Okay, so these are the things, the clues that we're going to delve into, that we're going to dive into about what that Christ gave us concerning what they were eating, what they were drinking, and the marriages. What was the marriages all about? the homilies, the Clementine homilies, like, you know, on your device, your mobile device, you can follow me. If you don't have that privilege, just listen keenly, right? We're going to go into the Clementine homilies. Okay? First of all, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a description of Cain. Because we're going to look very closely at Cain. Okay, so I'm gonna give a distinct description of Cain and his characteristics, because a lot of people just know Cain, he killed his brother and that was it, blah 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 done. Okay, we're gonna break down Cain, and then we're gonna go into we're gonna go into the book of Adam and Eve and get further understanding what was going on during the time before the flood in Noah's time. Okay,
we're also gonna compare it to today, how it's happening today.
Yes, yes. We're going to do a comparison because we want to see now if what's going on today is the same thing that was going on during the time of Noah. It has to be. And if it matches up, then guess what? We know that we're in the end times. We know that Christ is right there at the door. Okay? So let's go. Follow me to the Clementine homilies, chapter 25.
Clementine Homilies, chapter 25, Cain's name and nature.
Okay.
Hence the ambiguous name which she gave to her firstborn son, calling him Cain, which has a capability of interpretation in two ways.
Read.
For it is interpreted both possession and envy, as signifying that in the future he was to envy either a woman or possessions or the love of the parents towards her. But if it be none of these, then it will befall him to be called the possession.
So Cain's name means to possess. That's what Cain means. It means to possess. Okay? Read.
For she possessed him first.
For she possessed him first. Go ahead.
Which also was advantageous to him. For he was a murderer and a liar.
For he was a murderer and a liar. So the Cain is where we had the first physical murder started. Because he killed his brother. That's where the first physical murder started. Read.
And with his sins was not willing to be at peace with respect to the government.
Respect to the government. Okay, that was his peers that was over him in the Most High. Go ahead.
Moreover, those who came forth by succession from him were the first adulterers.
So now we're getting somewhere now. So it's saying now, the offspring of Cain that came from Cain, they were also the first adulterers. So now you know why the Most High gave us that law about thou shalt not commit adultery now. Okay? Read.
And there were psalteries and harps and forgers of instruments of war.
And we're going to go into the records to show you that the giants that showed Cain's seed how to be able to make music instruments, weapons of wars, and all kinds of unknown things to man. Okay? We're gonna go into it. Finish.
Wherefore also the prophecy of his descendants, being full of adulterers and of psalteries, secretly by means of pleasures excites to wars.
Okay, so this is what when they started to do their adultery and all of that, it got them so excited to the point where they wanted to war people. And we're even going to go into that. We're going to show you even how they even took war to another level in the beginning. Okay? Follow me. We're going to go to the book, the second book of Adam and Eve, chapter 20. The second book of Adam and Eve, chapter 20. And we're going to start at verse 1. So the second book of Adam and Eve, as I said, if you have this book, you'll be able to find the second book of Adam and Eve in here, right? If you have it on your device, follow us on your device. If not, I said, listen carefully, keenly. Okay?
Second book of Adam and Eve, chapter 20, verse 1. After Cain had gone down to the land of dark soil, and his children had multiplied therein, there was one of them whose name was Genom, son of Lamech, the blind who slew Cain.
Okay, so Genom, was the son of Lamech, and Lamech was the one who killed Cain, his father. When the scripture told you that Cain's house fell on top of it, fell on him, it's not talking literally a house fell on him. It was just saying that he was killed by somebody of his household. Okay? So that's what that means, right? Go ahead.
But as to this, Genom, Satan came into him in his childhood, and he made sundry trumpets and horns, and string instruments, cymbals, and psalteries, and lyres, and harps, and flutes, and he played on them at all times and at every hour.
So you see now where music came from and who taught mankind music? See, that's why when we look at all this music industry now, with all the hip-hop and all of that, the nice music now, and it captivates you, and it puts you in a trance to make you want to follow the trends. You see how Satan works? See that? Yeah. So you got to be careful.
He's mastered it now, too.
He's mastered it now. You understand? Because we can hear a sound come up over the television that sounds catchy, and catchy like that. And it's just catchy, and you're not listening to the meaning of the words or the meaning of the sound. Know that there's no meaning to the sound whatsoever. It's just talking about straight garbage. No edification. You hear the sound, what the sound would you want to whip? Nay. You know what I'm saying?
And that Nene dance, they're doing the Baphomet sign too.
They don't even know that they're doing.
Yeah.
See? They're doing satanic worship while singing and dancing to this song. Like, this is how these elites got our people. Thinking that you're just innocent, having a feel-good moment to a song. Saying, I'm just enjoying myself. Not really knowing that you're really doing idol worship. Satanic worship. Not knowing that you're doing it.
Look at this time too, they got the children of Israel to perfect it.
They got the children of Israel to perfect it.
They don't have that hit. They don't have that hit. You know, who's listening to that rock music? All nations ain't listening to that.
Right? So this is what we see now. So right away we can see comparisons back in those times to now. Okay? Read.
Verse 3. And when he played on them, Satan came into them.
See that? When he played these instruments that Satan showed him how to make, Satan would come in. He made the spirit go into these instruments. Read.
So that from among them were heard beautiful and sweet sounds that ravished the heart.
That ravaged the heart. And it's just like, I'll just give you an example, like, and especially when certain ladies hear certain slow tunes and it just melts them. Oh, that's my song. Right? That's what they say. Right? And this was the similarity of how Satan was operating when he put his spirit through these instruments and melodies would come out of them. It would put people in a certain kind of relaxation, a happy vibe, a good vibe mood, you know what I'm saying? But knowing that it was evil behind it. It wasn't to give you a good vibe to make you meditate on the Most High. It was to give you, Satan did this to give you a good vibe to be able to do his bidding and turn to him. This is what was happening during that time.
There's a thing too. There's an example with Saul. Saul had a spirit on him, and
Perfect
he
example.
needed to get the that's in 1 Samuel 16. He needed to get the spirit, an evil spirit off of him, and he had to call for David, and David came and prayed righteous music and got the spirit off of him. Which is why how we have Hebrews now making music to try to combat the music what's going on
Exactly.
in the world today.
And that music was David was playing. That was the righteous music from the Most High. It had nothing to do with Satan. Because everything that every letter word that David wrote, it was to the Most High, giving him praise and thanks. A lot of the Psalms, them are not only songs, they're prophecies as well. So as David was singing these Psalms, he was singing and prophesying. Read.
Verse 4. Then he gathered companies upon companies to play on them.
So he started to get his friends there and say, come, let's make a band.
Some concert.
Right? Read.
And when they played, it pleased well the children of Cain, who inflamed themselves with sin among themselves.
So they inflame themselves with sin among themselves. What does that mean? Let's see. Read.
And burned as while Satan inflamed their hearts one with another and increased lust among them.
So these are families. This is one family that is in one space together. So when these instruments started to be played, what Satan did now started to make the spirit of lust started to enter into each one of Cain's family members. To the point now they are lusting for one another. Brother lusting for sister, father lusting for daughter, son lusting for mother.
And they show us that today on Jerry Springer and all those shows. They show you that's happening.
Right? This is what we know that's going on today. Okay? Especially in America, what do you call it? A certain Hickville. What do you, like a certain Europeans them who live in I guess a country part, a lot of them like to do like incest, right? They like to keep it in the family, so to say. You know what I'm saying? Wow, listen, at that time, when the Most had to do that at that time with Adam and Eve, and it was for reprocreation. Okay, now there's billions of people in the earth. Take a walk and find somebody other than from your immediate family. Okay, there's a lot to choose from now. Okay, read. Oh, you have something to say, Shimon?
I was going to say that and they're setting up the concerts, and you see they're setting up the concerts. If you take a look at what's going on, especially in the young community, concerts is being pushed on us. People are not even going to, listening to music and stuff. The music is dull now to where you need to go see a live performance now. You can't just, there's no joy in going and buying a CD or nothing. So now the new thing is going to the concerts. And these concerts usually are on the Sabbath as well, where you go to see this idol now.
Verse 5. Satan also taught Genom to bring strong drink out of corn.
All right, and we know from the research that we did, we know that the corn that they're talking about here is not the corn that we see today. The corn was actually wheat or grain. Okay, right? In certain places in Europe right now, if you go and ask them, what's the most, how much corn they have, to them, the corn is crop. If you ask somebody, well, how much corn do you got on your farm? You'd be like, well, yeah, I got 10 acres of soybean. To him, that's considered corn because corn means crop. It don't mean the literal corn that you see today because that's not what it was called. And that's not how it looked thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago. They played a big trick on us. Corn is not good. Corn is starch. Who use spray starch to put on their clothes, to iron it out? You know where that comes from? Corn that you eat today. Corn starch, no good. Spray starch, no good. These starches, corn starch will kill you too. It's not good for you because it's man-made, it's domesticated. They've hybrided till it can't be hybrid no more.
Looking all yellow, it's supposed to look like wheat, and it's, you know?
Yeah.
You look at corn, you would never think of wheat when you look at that.
Okay, and even when you go back to the Guinness now, what we're reading about here now, where they learn how to bring strong drink out of corn, a lot of the wheat, you know, they were using and they were fermenting to make strong drink. Just like when, you know, you go to the store and you buy a Guinness stout or whatever the case is. These same methods our forefathers were doing back then too. They understood the methods of how to be able to ferment things to turn it into a strong drink or alcohol. Satan showed them these things.
And the strong drink, we see there that because this is not wine, and so we see
No.
the strong drink means fermented it.
Exactly. It's not wine. It's not talking about the fruit of the vine. This is talking about grain or wheat. That's what they were using to make alcohol or strong drink. Read.
Verse 5. Satan also taught Gannon to bring strong drink out of corn. And this Gannon used to bring together companies upon companies in drink houses, and brought into their hands all manner of fruits and flowers, and they drank together.
So there's your first bar. Okay? There's your first bar right there. Man made a strong drink and it's like, okay, come. Everybody, we're going to drink. Okay? Read.
Thus did this Gannon multiply sin exceedingly. He also acted with pride and taught the children of Cain to commit all manner of the grossest wickedness which they knew not, and put them up to manifold doings which they knew not before.
Okay? So, and just to remind you, when we're going to go into these records, you're going to find out that it wasn't only Cain's seed that was sinning and going off. You had Seth's seed too that went off too before the flood. Okay? Yeah.
Wasn't it with the mountain thing when they went
We're going to go into all of that. Okay? And it wasn't just about what the giants that were doing. There was more going on back in those times why the Most High brought the flood upon the earth. It wasn't just because of the giants alone. It was the mankind in general of the wickedness. And the Most High was like, nah, I gotta start over again. Okay? Read.
Then Satan, when he saw that they yielded to Gannon and hearkened to him in everything he told them, rejoiced greatly, increased Gannon's understanding, until he took iron and with it made weapons of war.
So Satan was like, okay, I can use Gannon. I can use Gannon because the other people's listening to him. So I'm going to increase him in knowledge. I'm going to give him more knowledge to the point where I'm going to show him how to make weapons of war. And when you go into the book of Enoch too, which we're going to touch a little bit on that, it tells you, remember, all these fallen angels, these 200 angels, they fall under Satan. You understand? Don't think that they were coming on the earth and just operating. They were operating under the influence of Satan. Okay? All these 200 angels, they're Satan's too. It's not just Lucifer alone named Satan. It's any angel who rebels against the Most High is a Satan, is a devil. Read.
Verse 8. Then, when they were drunk, hatred and murder increased among them. One man used violence against another to teach him evil, taking his children and defiling them before him.
There you go, your first pedophile. Read that part again.
Then, when they were drunk, hatred and murder increased among them.
So they got drunk, out of their right minds now. they start murdering each other and hating each other. Read.
One man used violence against another to teach him evil, taking his children and defiling them before him.
So they would use violence one against the other. And to the point where you would use violence against an individual and take his child away from him and abuse him right in front of him. Right in front of the parent. Remember, there was no police out there. There was no police stuff that.
That can't happen today. Today, you know, and
Right.
this happens at the club.
Right? You understand? Read.
Verse 9. And when men saw they were overcome, and saw others that were not overpowered, those who were beaten came to Genon, took refuge with him, and he made them his confederates.
So those who get them overcome and so-called pumped off and beat up, they were like, okay, we got nobody to protect us, but they were seeing other people who was not being overpowered by Genom, but still holding their own. So they're like, okay, we're not like these other people. Let's go side with Genom so that he don't beat us up no more. So at least we can have some kind of protection, even though we know we're not the right side. But this is the influence that Genom had on the children of man during that time, especially his own siblings. Read.
Then sin increased among them greatly, until a man married his own sister.
Here it comes.
Or daughter.
Until a man married his own sister or daughter. A father marrying his daughter. Read.
Or mother.
Or mother.
And others.
And others. Read.
Or the daughter of his father's sister.
Or the daughter of his father's sister. Now you're going on your father's side. So you're either go on your mother's side or your father. This is what they were doing. This is what they do today. Especially with the elites there, they keep it in the family. They keep it in the family.
The difference is today too that they have TV, so now they give it to you on the TV channel, How much shows out there displaying the same thing, showing how much families, are dealing with each other.
Exactly.
All these talk shows. That's how Satan likes to show us what he's doing and how his things is in the earth.
Especially Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer is one of the most tested.
Yeah.
You can go and you see them, the mother sleeping with the son, the father sleeping with the...
And his bodyguard now, Steve Wilkos.
Right? He has his own show now.
Yeah.
Just like, it's like, okay, you learn that, okay, everybody here is dysfunctional. I can make money I can capitalize off of these dysfunctionality because you're so twisted and sinful. Read.
So that there was no more distinction of relationship.
What verse you are at?
Verse 10.
Can you read that again?
Verse 10. Then sin increased among them greatly, until a man married his own sister, or daughter, or mother, and others, or the daughter of his father's sister, so that there was no more distinction of relationship, and they no longer knew what is iniquity.
So they no longer knew what was sin. Read.
But did wickedly, and the earth was defiled with sin. And they angered Ahiah the judge.
And they angered the Most High the judge. Read.
Who had created them.
Go ahead.
But Genon gathered together companies upon companies that played on horns and on all the other instruments we have already mentioned at the foot of the holy mountain. And they did so in order that the children of Seth, who were on the holy mountain, should hear it.
So I'm going to give you a description now of how the children of Seth were situated in the area and the children of Cain were situated in the area. You had the children of Seth up on a high mountain. Okay? That's where the children of Seth situated. They weren't supposed to come down from that mountain for nothing. And then you had the children of Cain down in the valley. And now we're reading about how Genon now would stay at the foot the base of the mountain, trying to play sweet music so the children of Seth could hear, to be able to come down from their protection, because the mountain was their protection. The minute that they would leave the mountain, they wouldn't be able to find their way back up. So we're going to show you. Read.
Verse 12. But when the children of Seth heard the noise, they wondered.
They wondered, what is this? What's that nice? You hear that music? Where's that coming from? Read.
And came by companies, and stood on the top of the mountain to look at those below. And they did thus a whole year.
So they did this for a whole year, going at the top of the mountain at the edge, looking down and saying, man, Cain and them, they know what, they got some tunes. Right? Read.
When at the end of the year, Ganon saw that they were being won over to him little by little, Satan entered into him and taught him to make dyeing stuff for garments of diverse patterns.
Different patterns. Read.
And made him understand how to dye crimson and purple and whatnot.
So now Satan gave Ganon now the understanding now of being able to colorize your wardrobe now, how to dye your clothes, so that when they were playing these music now, they would look all nice and pretty. Sounds familiar when you go to a party? Everybody's all dressed up nice.
Different colors.
Different colors. You got your strong drink there, your spirits, right?
You got the weapons there.
Yeah, you got your music there. You see? It's just evolved on a bigger scale.
And then everybody too in there.
Right? Sometimes you go to some club, someone's like, yeah, you can dance with my dad, man, it's okay, it's cool.
Yeah.
Right? No, you got quite a few, you got a couple of men like that out there. You understand? Who swing that way. You know, but this is what goes on in today's society, just like back then. Read.
Verse 14. And the sons of Cain, who wrought all this, and shone in beauty and gorgeous apparel.
Gorgeous apparel. It was nice clothes. It was like you were wearing, how would you say now? It's like you were wearing a tuxedo, or one of them, a clothing that was from one of those big designers. Their clothes was nice, better than everybody else, because it was colorful. Nobody had no color. Everybody was just wearing one color. They had many colors. Read.
Gathered together at the foot of the mountain in splendor, with horns and gorgeous dresses and horse races, committing all manner of abominations.
Read.
Meanwhile, the children of Seth, who were on the holy mountain, prayed and praised the Most High in the place of the host of angels who had fallen. Wherefore the Most High had called them angels, because he rejoiced over them greatly. But after this, they no longer kept his commandment, nor held by the promise he had made to their fathers, but they relaxed from their fasting and praying.
So they stopped fasting and praying. Before, they were fasting and praying, never going to the top of the mountain to look down what was going on at the bottom, but they were staying continually in line with the Most High, praising the Most High. But because of the distraction now that Cain brought with the music and the colorful clothing and all of that, it started to distract the sons of Seth from their righteous order. And now they started to drift away. Read.
And from the counsel of Jared their father. And they kept on gathering together on the top of the mountain to look upon the children of Cain from morning until evening, and upon what they did, upon their beautiful dresses and ornaments. Then the children of Cain looked up from below and saw the children of Seth standing in troops on the top of the mountain. And they called to them to come down to them.
So they're like, yo, come down, yo, come party with us. Yo, don't you see us? Yo, we're having fun. Look at us, look at all the clothes. Look at the nice clothes that we got. Look at our instruments, look at everything, saying all these enticing things to try to lure peer pressure. Come down from the mountain. What are you staying up there for? You can't even hear the music that go from up there. Come down, don't you? The bass is bumping down here.
Looking like pasa.
Right? Right? It's like, yeah, we got everything. We got girls, we got everything. Come down. Read.
Verse 18. But the children of Seth said to them from above,
What they say?
we don't know the way. Then Genon, the son of Lamech, heard them say they did not know the way, and he bethought himself how he might bring them down.
Go ahead.
Then Satan appeared to him by night, saying,
You're Satan. I'm telling you. You see, when the scripture talks about Satan walking around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour, it's right. Because he's always on the prowl. Right here, he was like, okay, they want to come down from the mountain. Okay, let me go to get him tonight, and I talk to him in a dream and show him how to get Seth's children to come down from the mountain, to come and join this little party that we're having. Read. 19.
Then Satan appeared to him by night, saying, there is no way for them to come down from the mountain on which they dwell. But when they come tomorrow, say to them, come ye to the western side of the mountain.
So it's like, tell them to go to the west. The western side of the mountain. Read.
There you will find the way of a stream of water that comes down to the foot of the mountain between two hills. Come down that way to us. Then when it was day, Genon blew the horns and beat the drums below the mountain, as he was wont. The children of Seth heard it, and came as they used to do. Then Genon said to them from down below, go to the western side of the mountain. There you will find the way to come down.
Go ahead.
But when the children of Seth heard these words from him, they went back to tell him all they had heard.
So because they were always told by Enoch and all their forefathers to never leave the mountain. So now when somebody's telling them to come down on the mountain, this was strange to them. This was like, oh, hold on, the western side. We've never even been to the western side. What is this person talking about? You know what? Let's go ask Jared, because we don't know. Read.
Verse 23. Then when Jared heard it, he was grieved.
Jared already knew what was going on. Jared already discerned. Said, oh man, look at Satan and King C now trying to corrupt my children. Read.
For he knew that they would transgress his counsel. After this, 100 men of the children of Seth gathered together and said among themselves, come, let us go down to the children of Cain and see what they do and enjoy ourselves with them.
Let's go see what they're doing and enjoy ourselves with them. Let's go party with them. 100 men of the children of Seth decided to do this. Read.
But when Jared heard this of the 100 men, his very soul was moved and his heart was grieved. He then arose with great fervor and stood in the midst of them and adjured them by the blood of Abel the just, let not one of you go down from this holy and pure mountain in which our fathers have ordered it's to dwell.
So Jared is charging them again Don't leave this place. Don't leave this place. Stay up here. Read.
Verse 26. But when Jared saw that they did not receive his words, he said unto them, O my good and innocent and holy children, know that when once you go down from this holy mountain, the Most High will not allow you to return again to it.
The Most High will not allow you to return again to it. Because you're going to be corrupted. And if you return back up to, after being corrupted, you go back up to that mountain, guess what you're going to do? You're going to corrupt everybody else up there from what you've learned. Because you want to tell everybody, oh man, this is what I learned when I went down to King. Yeah, I learned how to do this. And you know, you're going to try to teach your people now the ways that you've learned from someone else. And forsake the righteous order altogether.
It reminds me of too. This kind of reminds me of like Benjamin. He dwelled in safety in the islands, but Benjamin is in the islands and he sees on the TV everything, what's going on in Babylon and everything, and he's like, he wants to go to fire,
right?
He wants to go join what's going down there,
not knowing that he's coming into the fire. That this is worse than where he is, because they're only looking at the glamour and the glitter, and they're just looking at everything that they see on TV. Not knowing that it's not even real. They're selling you something. They're selling you a dream that is never gonna come true. Never gonna come true. Read.
Verse 27. He again adjured them, saying, I adjure by the death of our father Adam, and by the blood of Abel, of Seth, of Enos, of Canaan, and of Mahalaleel, to hearken to me, and not to go down from this holy mountain. For the moment you leave it, it will be reft of life and of mercy, and you shall no longer be called children of the Most High, but children of the devil.
And it goes into even comparison today to say, we live in today's society, and if you don't choose to live with the Most High and just choose to serve the devil, it's hard for the Most High to really guide and protect you and watch over you. Because you're not under his protection, you're not under his pavilion. You're out there with the wolves. So if Satan decides to ravish you one day, you're going to be ravished. And the Most High can't really do nothing to help you, because that's the way that you chose. And looking back at the sons of Seth now, the Most High is telling them, like, you leave this, you can't come back. I can't help you. Read.
Verse 28.
see the chapter chapter 20. Some people are probably following, probably
Second book of Enoch, chapter 20. Salakia. The second book of Adam and Eve, chapter 20, verse 28. But they would not hearken to his words. Enoch at the time was already grown up, and in his zeal for the Most High, he arose and said, Hear me, O ye sons of Seth, small and great. When ye transgress the commandment of our fathers, and go down from this holy mountain, ye shall not come up hither again forever. But they rose up against Enoch, and would not hearken to his words, but went down from the holy mountain. And when they looked at the daughters of Cain, at their beautiful figures.
So now they got so close of a good of a look at the daughters of Cain. Now they're like, oh my goodness, why didn't I come down here earlier?
They're in that
or sooner?
They're When that club was tight.
Right? That lust spirit just hit them one time. Oh, they're like, man, I'm not going back up to the mama. I don't think I'm going back up. Right? Read it.
One moment. Verse 31. And when they looked at the daughters of Cain, at their beautiful figures,
Read.
and at their hands and feet dyed with color,
And at their hands and their feet dyed with color. So it's just like, I don't know if they were doing the whole fingernail thing, but they were making their hands and their feet look beautiful. Instead of having all kind of dirt and everything all over it, it had color. You understand? Like it looked clean and, presenting. Right? Read.
and tattooed in ornaments on their faces,
And what?
and tattooed in ornaments on their faces.
You see where your tattoos started from too? You see that? So you don't want to follow that trend. Because you follow that trend, you're following Cain. Or not even Cain, you're following Satan. Because Satan is the orchestrator of all these things. Read.
The fire of sin was kindled in them.
That's that lust, that burning lust. That's what the Most High said, listen, it's better to marry than to burn. You think he was talking about burning in hell? No, he was talking about burning with lust for somebody else. So instead of you seeing somebody and just want to get with them, the Most High is like, marry, do it the proper way, so that you can bypass that sin. Instead of you trying to sneak around and get a little piece here and there. Right? Burning in lust. Burning. Read.
Verse 32. Then Satan made them look most beautiful before the sons of Seth, as he also made the sons of Seth appear of the fairest in the eyes of the daughters of Cain.
So this brother, he was just working in overtime. He made the daughters of Cain look beautiful to the sons of Seth, and he made the sons of Seth look fair to the daughters of Cain. So it was like a match made in heaven. Man was like, what? She's a perfect one for me. I want that one. I want, right? Because nobody saw any fault with what they were seeing. Everything was all good. Read.
So that the daughters of Cain lusted after the sons of Seth like ravenous beasts.
Like a ravenous beast. Okay, read.
And the sons of Seth after the daughters of Cain, until they committed abomination with them.
Until they committed abomination. Seth's seed wasn't even supposed to mingle with Cain's seed. Okay? And especially everything that they were doing, the incest, and all the other sodomy and all that they were doing, this is what the sons of Seth started to learn from Cain. And end up getting destroyed with Cain and his seed during the time of the flood. Read.
Verse 33. But after they had thus fallen into this defilement, they returned by the way they had come.
So now, the party is over. Hey, let's go home. We had fun. Let's go back up to the west side of the mountain. I'm tired, I want to go to sleep. Can't go back. Read.
And tried to ascend the holy mountain, but they could not, because the stones of that holy mountain were of fire flashing before them.
See how the Most High is good? The Most High is like, listen, you don't know how I got this mountain booby track. There's no way you can get up here. So you have to stay up here. That's why Satan and them couldn't come up there. Because that Most High had the mountain protected. And the only way, and you couldn't even go up to the waterfall way either. Read.
By reason of which they could not go up again. And the Most High was angry with them, and repented of them, because they had come down from glory, and had thereby lost or forsaken their own purity or innocence.
They're defiled. They've been defiled. Read.
And were fallen into the defilement of sin.
Go ahead.
Then the Most High sent his word to Jared, saying, These thy children, whom thou didst call my children, behold, they have transgressed my commandment,
Read.
and have gone down to the abode of perdition and of sin. Send a messenger to those that are left, that they may not go down and be lost.
Check this out. So even before the flood, the Most High was sending messengers to try to keep even the sons of Seth in the right way. And now after the flood now, who do we have? The prophets. Try to keep the children of Israel in the right way. Never would listen to none of the prophets. They killed the prophets, the children of Israel. And they killed Christ too, because Christ told them that they're eating too much flesh. And how much they were going off. And they couldn't have it because all they knew was sacrifice and eat flesh. Read.
Verse 36. Then Jared wept before the Most High, and asked of him mercy and forgiveness. But he wished that his soul might depart from his body, rather than hear these words from the Most High about the going down of his children from the holy mountain.
Go ahead.
But he followed the Most High's order, and preached unto them not to go down from that holy mountain, and not to hold intercourse with the children of Cain.
Not to hold intercourse with the children of Cain, because that's what they were doing when they were going down to the mountain. It wasn't just listening to the music and looking at their nice clothes. They were indulging in the sin that the seed of Cain was doing. Read.
But they heeded not his message, and would not obey his counsel.
Okay. So that was one account. That was just a little piece of the account of what Cain and them was doing. We're going to go into the book of Jasher and even get another account. And we're going to go into even the book of Enoch. Brother Shamar will go into that and be able to show you even a draught that the angels them gave the woman so that they would keep their shape. All of these things, we're going to show you what was going on during the time of Noah or before the flood. Okay? Let's go to the book of Jasher. Show them the book. That's the book of Jasher. Okay? And we're going to be reading from chapter 4, verse 16. Okay? And the book of Jasher, it's the book of Jasher means the upright. Or the upright ones. So it's the book of the upright. Okay?
The book of Jasher, chapter 4, verse 16. And all the sons of men departed from the ways of the Most High in those days, as they multiplied upon the face of the earth with sons and daughters. And they taught one another their evil practices, and they continued sinning against the Most High. And every man made unto himself a god.
Look at this. Your idol worship. Read.
And they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor.
Do we have that going on today? Is people robbing and plundering their neighbor?
Making idols, because now they know that we're not going to be dealing with the medals and stuff. They made people the idols. American idols, all of those things.
Exactly.
How much people love these stars and stuff? That's an idol they're worshiping.
That's an idol. That's an idol. You get be careful, because you're idolizing them and you don't even know the background of their lives. And when you really check it out, it's satanic. Really satanic. Not saying that they grew up like that, but they got introduced to that and they never turned back. Read.
And they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor, as well as his relative. And they corrupted the earth, and the earth was filled with violence.
The earth was filled with violence back then, and you see the earth filled with violence today. For the past couple of weeks, I've been looking on the news, and it's like shooting and stabbing can't done. Every time I turn on, somebody's getting shot or stabbed. Same thing happening. Same thing. Read.
Verse 18. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force.
Guess who their judges and rulers were? The angels and the giants. That's who their judges and rulers were. It's telling you. Read it again.
Verse 18. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force from their husbands according to their choice.
So you had the angels them raping the daughters of men, taking them from their husbands, going into the house, taking a wife from her husband and raping her.
It's going on today too.
Right?
All the abductions, people missing. No one knows where these people are going.
Nobody knows. I seen the news about a couple weeks ago about a sister, I guess, a young lady. She was in Scarborough. I guess she visited her parents, and then she just left. And the only thing they saw her was her talking to some guy in the field. And they can't find her. They don't even know where she is. Left the house with next to nothing on it. Nobody knows where she is. Same things happening.
They like to blame other person. They'll put, multiple, of the missing people onto one person. Be like, yeah, this one person was responsible for all this.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, 90% of the cases of missing people, they've been abducted to be sacrificed or have any kind of satanic pleasure with. Telling you. I was watching, there was a news article in England, I'm talking the UK, and on the property of the Queen, on one of her palaces, they found a dead body of a girl. And guess what? Nobody on the property we don't know. We don't know. So how all of a sudden your property of the Queen was supposed to be protected? All of a sudden now we're finding dead bodies and nobody knows nothing about it.
And they're suppressing this.
These are the things that they do. That's what I'm saying. When you see some young ladies or little children go missing, they can't be found. Listen to me. They're done. They've been sacrificed. You ain't seen how he's going to be recovered from that. This is how these people get down. Yes, they're not going to tell it to you on the mainstream TV, mainstream media. They're not going to tell you these things. Yes, sis.
Even in Canada, there's like a huge epidemic of missing and murdered Aboriginal people for like the past 80 years.
I've heard about that, yeah.
And like there's never been official looking into it.
Nothing. Cold case.
Like thousands upon thousands.
This is what happens. And they kidnap these women and they use them for their sexual pleasure whenever they're doing their little satanic rituals. And they do it to men too. What do you call it? The skull and bones. They put, when they're doing the initiation, they put brothers in caskets and another brother in a casket too. And you understand? This is how these people get down. So when they put on their nice suit and come in front of the camera and talk to you and make themselves look important, listen, they are scum. They are the worst of the worst. They're the filth of the earth. And when they're getting down like that, I don't respect none of them. Read.
Verse 18. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force from their husbands according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with the other.
See that? It taught the mixture of animals of one species and another. Meaning that they're taking the DNA or the sperm or egg from one animal and combining it with a different animal. Two different animals now to see what kind of animal is going to come from this. What do we got here? And this is what the angels then were doing and teaching mankind. And you had dinosaurs then started coming up on the earth, being created on the earth. And it wasn't from the Most High, but it because of them doing splicing, messing with the DNA. Are they doing this today? Definitely. Definitely.
Super soldiers.
Super soldiers. You see some carcasses of some animals being washed up on some shores. People don't know what the hell are these animals. They're seeing, it looks like a penguin with a bird or something, or an alligator. It's like, I'm seeing, I don't know if this was real, but I was seeing them showing a picture of a man that looked like a pig. Like lying down and curling up. I'm like, what?
There's this movie too. It's a children's movie. In the movie, they're showing that they have a place in the earth where they would hide these spliced beings from the normal society and give them their own little society.
Wow.
What's the movie again? It's a kid movie. I totally forgot. Something in the lightning rod.
But I'm sure you're right on, because they put out a lot of subliminal in these little children movies. Okay, they put out a lot of it. So I'm sure you're right. But I know it will come to you. Well, continue, read.
And taught a mixture of animals of one species with the other,
Read.
in order therewith to provoke the Most High.
See, it was only to provoke the Most High. It was nothing for the good of man or for the good of the earth. It was only to get the Most High upset. Why the angels them did this, or the sons of man them did this. Yes. Oh. Go ahead.
And Ahiah saw the whole earth, and it was corrupt. From all flesh had corrupted its ways upon earth, all men and all animals.
And this is important, all men and all animals, because people wonder why does the animals them do this and all that? Because we can see why. It was influenced by Satan. Satan was the one that started to influence these animals now to go to corrupt them, to start eating other animals. He did that on land and he did that in the sea with the bigger fishes there. Read.
Verse 19. And the Most High said, I will blot out man that I created from the face of the earth, yeah, from man to the birds of the air, together with cattle and beasts that are in the field, for I repent that I made them. And all men who walked in the ways of the Most High died in those days, before the Most High brought the evil upon man.
So it was only the righteous who were walking in the ways of the Most High. They got an early death so that they wouldn't see the destruction to come. The Most High made it to where they died early, so that they wouldn't see all that evil that the Most High was going to bring upon the earth. Okay? Read.
Before the Most High brought the evil upon man, which he had declared. For this was from the Most High, that they should not see the evil which the Most High spoke of concerning the sons of men. And Noah found grace in the sight of the Most High. And the Most High chose him and his children to raise up seed from them upon the face of the whole earth.
Okay, so we're going to go into another account. Brother Shamar is going to break it down for us as we go into it to show the gruesomeness. And now we're going into the blood and the grit and the grind and all the flesh that everybody was dealing with. Okay? Go ahead.
We're going to the Clementine homilies. Clementine homilies, chapter 14.
Clementine homilies, chapter 14. Their discoveries. For after the intercourse, being asked to show what they were before, and being no longer able to do so, on account of their being unable to do anything else after their defilement, yet wishing to please their mistresses instead of themselves, they showed the bowels of the earth. I mean, the choice metals, gold, brass, silver, iron, and the like, with all the most precious stones. And along with these charmed stones, they delivered the arts of the things pertaining to each.
Alright, so this is after the intercourse. After the intercourse, they couldn't change back into an angel. They had to stay in the flesh that they were. So them doing this, they needed to impress the woman. And to impress the woman, they couldn't go back into the form to show them their gods and their angels and stuff. So what they had to do was show them at least their intelligence. So now they started to open up to these women and show them everything that they know, which we know that's what men do. When they get comfortable with a woman, they start to tell them everything they know. You want to know how the business is, they start to let all the secrets out the bag, the secrets of heaven. Continue.
And along with these charmed stones, they delivered the arts of the things pertaining to each.
Alright, so all the stones, the metals, the gold, the brass, the silver, the iron, all the light, they start showing them what to do with these things. Because some people have to think, where does man know what to get these things? These are way down in the earth. You have to dig here, dig there. Who told them these things are there? Was the man here when the Most High made the earth and he put these things there? In Job, he tells us, no, we weren't here when these things happened. When the foundations, all these things were laid. So how do they know where to find these things and where to drill? They were shown by the fallen ones.
And we can even, just to add on to what Shamar was saying, today we can still see them going into the earth, the bowels of the earth, looking for these precious metals and stones. Still doing it. Same thing happening. Go ahead.
And what I even realized today too is that they're looking for the precious stones, but they have us dumbfounded. They have us looking for diamonds. I'm like, where are you? I was looking in the Bible and I was looking at all the precious. I'm like, where's diamonds? They give us the diamonds and then they get the rubies and the things and all the other ones you don't even know they exist. And we're over here fighting for the diamonds. They're not really worth anything.
Nothing. It's just like finding a stone outside.
They continue though.
And along with these charmed stones, they delivered the arts of the most They delivered the arts of the things pertaining to each, and imparted the discovery of magic, and taught astronomy, and the powers of roots.
All right, so we see a lot of this going on today in the New Age, right? People are coming, discovery of magic. We have people jumping into Egyptology. We have people all over the social networks, women dancing in front of the screen, talking about they're dealing with feminine energies and all these things. This is ramping up, and this is in our people. Our people never used to deal with this. I never used to see our people go in and make little altars and deal with the moon gods and all of this. All right, we used to see, the white people do those sometimes, but we weren't into those stuff. Now we're seeing our people that's getting into that. They're dealing with the witches stuff. They're going into those sections, and they're coming through the Egyptology. That's where they're getting comfortable with. They're like, oh, the ancestors did it. All right, and they're dealing with astronomy, all the horoscopes and this and that, and the roots. When they're doing their little spells and stuff, they're using roots. Oh yeah, make this guy love me, and all of that's going on. All you gotta do is, even if you at Instagram, you can go and type in the weekend or whatever, do it around 12 o'clock. They come out and they start taking all their pictures and showing you all the things that they're doing, all the spells that they're dealing with and what they're using.
And just to add on to that, and it's funny too, because me and my bro, we were watching what's a movie called Jamaican Mafia, and we were watching the movie. And like they portray Obia in the movie like it's not. This man will take out the life. This man, a brother just saved his brother from getting shot, and the man took out the lime out of his pocket, kissed his lime, and say, "Yo, the lime, you know, lime, this will protect me." And it's like this is the witchcraft our people are dealing with today that was going on back then, still going on. But go ahead.
And along with these charmed stones, they delivered the arts of the things pertaining to each, and imparted the discovery of magic, and taught astronomy, and the powers of roots, and whatever was impossible to be found out by the human mind.
They turned into scientists. They had science, anything that you couldn't find out, they had these brothers going into.
Also, the melting of gold and silver, and the light, and the various dyeing of garments, and all things, in short, which are for the adornment and delight of women, are the discoveries of these demons bound in flesh.
Right, so these are the discoveries of the angels that was trapped in the flesh, and they show you these in like movies like City of the Angel with Nicolas Cage and stuff. He's fallen in love, and when he fell in love and went into room, he couldn't become an angel again. He thought he would, he made that choice. He thought he would be able to spend the rest of his life with that woman, but the Most High took away the woman right away, and he was stuck in that body, and the woman that he fell for is gone too.
You ever think to yourself, I don't mean to cut you, brother. If you ever think to yourself, where did they get these ideas for these movies? Because we're reading them, and then we see these movies pop up. So is it fair to say that they're reading these records too? Right? Go ahead.
Oh, I remember the movie too, Percy Jackson, and the lightning thief.
Oh my goodness.
In that movie, they show you that these genetically spiced human and animal things, they bring to other places to dwell, and they don't make them come into our society.
Okay, so that's the movie, Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
They know that if we see these things, it's going to be all hell. Our people will have a riot. They're going to be scared. So they don't want to alert us too much. So they purposely hide certain things from us and mask it. But it's happening. And it happened in the days of the flood, because the angels, also when they slept with the woman, they slept with the animals and created what you call angelic animal type looking like beings. Yeah? All those Egyptians with the animal head and all those things are real. Those were the judges at those times that they put in power. Continue. Yeah.
Clementine Homilies, chapter 15, the giants. But from their unhallowed intercourse, spurious men sprang, much greater in stature than ordinary men, whom they afterwards called giants.
All right, so they had these giants. All right, we won't go into today, but there's record that show that the giants, they were so big that they even outgrew out of the woman and even killed the mothers and stuff. All right, that's how big they were getting when they're in the wombs and stuff. All right, continue.
Not those dragon-footed giants who waged war against the Most High, as those blasphemous myths of the Greeks do sing, but wild in manners and greater than men in size, inasmuch as they were sprung of angels, yet less than angels, as they were born of women. Therefore, the Most High, knowing that they were barbarized to brutality, and that the world was not sufficient to satisfy them, for it was created according to the proportion of men and human use, that they might not through want of food turn contrary to nature to eating of animals.
All right, read that again.
Therefore, the Most High, knowing that they were barbarized to brutality, and that the world was not sufficient to satisfy them, for it was created according to the proportion of men and human use, that they might not through want of food turn contrary to nature to eating of animals.
All right, so here we see it. So here they came, they had sons and all that, giants, too big for the things of earth. If those things run out, he didn't want them to go and start eating animals. So the Most High didn't want this blame, so he's like, you know what, I got to do something. And we're going to see what the Most High did. Continue.
And yet seem to be blameless, as having ventured upon this through necessity, the Almighty Most High rained manna upon them, suited to their various tastes, and they enjoyed all that they would.
All right. And you see, the Most High is not a respecter of persons. The Most High gave them a chance. He's like, you know what? Let me see if they would have just stuck to the manna, and they kept the laws and everything, they probably wouldn't have washed them out. But they're not going to deal with that. And the Most High has to make sure he's blameless. And then that's them that's in the wrong. A lot of people will say it was not their fault that they were born out. Why punish the kids? And the Most High gave them a chance. All right? The Most High is not a respecter of persons. He gives everybody a chance. He says you can feed your enemies, he tells us. All right? So if he's doing this and feeding them, that's what comes. He says, if we're doing this and we're not feeding our own house as well, where would he call them? What did he say again? We're
worse than an infidel.
Infidel, yes. We're worse than an infidel because he even feeds his enemies, much less his own family and own people under him. We see him feeding the unrighteous. All right? Continue.
But they, on account of their bastard nature, not being pleased with purity of food, longed only after the taste of blood. Wherefore they first tasted flesh.
All right, so he gave them the manna, and he made it rain down on them, and he gave them as much as it, and he changed it to whatever they wanted it to taste like. But all they wanted was the flesh. Now this happened at a time. This happened in Numbers 11, in the scriptures. Children of Israel got all the manna, yeah, but they wanted the flesh that they had in Egypt. All right, and the Most High took them out for that. This is where that spirit comes from, right here. The giants. All right? The Most High didn't want them to change from the nature. He didn't want them to change from what he put in Genesis 1 and 29. That's what he's saying right here. He didn't want them to change from the dietary law in Genesis 1:29. The same dietary law people are telling us it doesn't matter today. Yeah, it was only for the beginning when everything was perfect. Maybe that's when everything would be perfect again. When we go back to that dietary law. Because with that dietary law comes certain behaviors. No murdering, no this, no that. We have a pure, peaceful plate.
Exactly.
And even the vegan food, it all looks, when you look at it all, it makes you look happy. All the colors and all of this, you're like, okay, you feel the peace and stuff.
And you know, no, we don't eat just lettuce, carrots, and all of that. We don't eat rabbit food. So all you're thinking that we only eating just rabbit food, lettuce, and carrots, get that. Okay, we eating good food, the right food, alkaline food. Okay, so no lettuce and carrots up in here. Furthermore, carrots are not even real. The carrots that are out of is not even real. Okay, just to let you know. Even if they say organic too.
And that's how much flesh we eat, because until I couldn't eat no more flesh, I really understood I don't know any veggie dishes or nothing. All we did was, okay, get a one veggie and just dash it with the meat. And that's it. It wasn't every day you're going to have this. It was, okay, whatever veggie or something, whatever two is there, you just put it aside with rice, and yeah, that's it. Now when there's no flesh, you have to get creative. You're like, oh no, I gotta make a dish. I gotta make these ingredients into something. Not just boil them and roast them and stuff. So that's what they probably think. And they start with flesh, they would see that there's a lot of things you could do. Any meat dish you could do it also with veggie as well. Alright, so I'm to the next chapter.
Clementine Homilies, chapter 16, cannibalism. And the men who were with them there for the first time were eager to do the like. Thus, although we are born neither good nor bad, we become one or the other. And having formed habits, we are with difficulty drawn from them.
Alright, so they say, and having formed those habits, we're difficulty drawn from them. Everybody here who's coming off of the flesh knows that how hard it is, especially when you first hear that. It seems like an impossible mission. It seems like, well, I gotta stop eating flesh. It seems like something you can't do. And that's what comes people lash out on it, because they think it's so ridiculous. Because you never heard of such things. Alright? Once you tasted it, it's hard to come back. People don't know they lust for the flesh. As soon as you take that flesh away, you wake up and you're like, oh, you'll be full. You just want a little piece of the flesh, little piece. You're looking at it, smelling it. Okay, once we get it, it's hard to come off of it. This is why we see the problem in Israel right now, when we tell them to stop it. It's a big problem. Continue.
But when irrational animals fell short, these bastard men tasted also human flesh.
Alright, so they're watching the giants. When the animals fell short, the giants and all of them killing off too much animals now, they now start to switch to mankind. Cannibalism. That's happening today as well. And we're going to touch on that. Alright, continue.
For it was not a long step to the consumption of flesh like their own, having first tasted it in other forms.
Alright, so it's not too far from our own flesh. A lot of people are like, oh, they wonder what human flesh they. I'm telling you, I would admit it too. We probably ate human flesh before. We eating ground beef, all of these things, they slid it onto us, so you wouldn't even know. How you know? How we know? We're not there when we're getting these things minced up. Your McDonald's. The people at McDonald's can't even tell you what's in the ingredients. But once the people who cook it in the store can't even tell you how it was made, what's in it, there's a problem there. We don't know what's in the burger. We don't know what's in the patties. It tastes like flesh though when you're eating it. You're like, yeah. Yeah.
But you know the funny thing, most people who work at McDonald's will not eat McDonald's.
Yeah.
And they tell you clearly, I don't eat that stuff. But they will serve it.
People who work at these stores, these McDonald's, these fast foods, Even some of these Chinese stores, you go inside of there, they're eating their own food, home cooked from home, and they have your stir fry rice and everything. He wants stir fry rice. Quick. They have their healthy meal in front of them. That's all profit. They're not touching that. They don't eat that. They know exactly where to come. Come to our neighborhood. Set up a $5 fry, sweet and sour sauce. We're coming. And they're known for switching the meat on us. They know that we don't know the difference. They're like, you're gonna chop it up, put some sauce on it. You don't know the difference. That's been going on a lot. They're the ones doing it the most to us.
To the point where they're making fake rice. They're making fake rice. They're making fake eggs. Like, listen, Chinese people are trying to get you with me what you're making eggs, right?
It tastes so good. You tell people, like, I don't even care if the sweet and sour thing is rat or whatever. It tastes good though. Because you tell people all the time they don't stop eating. That's because it tastes good. It don't taste far from the flesh. So even if it was flesh or whatever, they don't care. That's what they want. And that's what the scripture's showing you. It's not too far from that. That's what comes. They're able to switch it in your chicken balls and all this, and you don't know the difference. You're still boxing it off like it's, nice. Continue.
Clementine Homilies, chapter 17, the flood. But by the shedding of much blood, the pure air being defiled with impure vapor, and sickening those who breathed it, rendered them liable to diseases.
All right, read that again, brother.
But by the shedding of much blood, the pure air being defiled with impure vapor, and sickening those who breathed it, rendered them liable to diseases.
All right, so all the bloodshed, all the killing of the animals, the killing of man, all of these things sent vapors up into the air. This now made people susceptible to diseases and stuff. These are where your diseases and all of that's coming from. All this bloodshed going on in the earth. Okay? We don't know. We have these slaughterhouses in our communities. You don't know how much of them fumes is going up into the air. Then we have the chemtrail. Then we have all these things. So it's the same things going on again right now too. The exact same things. And these we call slaughterhouses. We're going to go into some records to show you that. They're poisoning the air. All these places that have all these animals that you're slaughtering for food, all of that is poisoning the water. It's poisoning the air. All the rotten bones and all of these things is going into the water streams, all their waste and all of that. And then all the vapors is going up into the air. Alright, this was happening in the times of Noah. Continue.
So that thenceforth men died prematurely.
Alright, so men are dying prematurely. According to the scriptures, we're supposed to live to 120 years old. People ain't making it to 60. Some people. Alright, a lot of people. You make it to 60, you're already looking like you're about to go. Right? People can't wait to retire, They're 50 looking like they need to retire right now. Alright? This is happening because of all these conditions out there. Alright, continue.
But the earth, being by these means greatly defiled, these first teemed with poison darting and deadly creatures. All things, therefore, going from bad to worse, on account of these brutal demons.
All right, now let's look at the history of the world, okay? From now leading up to now, this thing's not only getting from bad to worse. Nothing is from I was a little child to now. Things is only getting worse, much less from before. Okay.
And I can relate to that because back in the 90s, it was okay. To us, it was good. And we're like, man, we can never get those days back again. Sure, you it's going from bad to worse. And even those times were bad, but we looked at it as good times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't as bad.
Right? Exactly.
And our parents are looking at us like, no, those times is bad.
Right?
They're not going to none of the jazz. They're like, no, they want the 80s and 70s back. Okay? So these are the things going on. Continue.
All things, therefore, going from bad to worse, on account of these brutal demons, the Most High wished to cast them away like an evil leaven, lest each generation from a wicked seed, being like to that before it, and equally impious, should empty the world to come of saved men. And for this purpose, having warned a certain righteous man with his 3 sons, together with their wives and their children, to save themselves in an ark, he sent a deluge of water, that all being destroyed, the purified world might be handed over to him who was saved in the ark, in order to a second beginning of life.
Alright, so this is why the Most High sent the deluge to the earth. These things that was happening. Okay, people was partying, jams was going on, concerts is going on, people is dressing in tight clothes, getting in their best, their designers. Music is playing, drinks is being poured up, marriages is going on, okay? Adultery is going on, people, sodomy is going on. All these things is going on. This is what's happening right now. Right now, under people's noses, people think it's gonna get worse, and no, they're hiding how bad it is right now. We really have no idea how bad it is right now.
They think it's gonna get better.
All right? These concerts are at a new level right now, okay? These fashion designs are at a new level right now. And the difference now is that before it was, as we see, the children of Seth was separated. Now, children of Israel is the one bringing this out, making the other nations do this. Other nations in their land, at least some of their culture, they're not as bad, but as soon as they hit children of Israel dealing with them and influencing them, it's out now. At least in their countries, you could go and people are covered up. Their women are covered up in all these things. As soon as they get a little American culture, that's gone. Woman is uncovering everything. As soon as they come over here, daddy can't tell her to cover her head, nothing no more.
That's why, me and a brother was having a conversation, and he's like, he wants one of them, covered up and everything, but he don't want too much covered up. And I'm like, you know what? Hey, the reason why they're doing it, I have to break it down. It's like, listen, they're staying true to their culture. You understand? They haven't been swayed yet or tainted by the Western world. So those women are more pure than any woman that you see in Hollywood. They're 100 times more better because they're pure and they're clean, and they're not dealing with no kind of defilements. Hollywood is dealing with every Hollywood party that you go to, you got sex, drugs, everything. It's like you go to a buffet and you see a table full of food. When you go to those Hollywood parties, you see a table full of contraband.
Yeah, contraband, all that, yeah.
You understand? That's how they get down. Cat Williams like, listen, I went to when I got big, I went to one of these mansion parties, and he was walking by from room to room, and he was seeing people was doing cocaine like it was natural, like it was drinking water. And he was just passing one room, which he never thought he would see in his life, and seeing 2 men having, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, what? This is what, and this is when he finally realized, like, this is the kind of parties that they deal with. This is what they deal with. We'll finish what you got.
Let's go to Joshua 2:17.
The book of Joshua, chapter 2, verse 17. And Lamech, the son of Methuselah became related to Canaan by marriage, and he took his 2 daughters for his wives. And Adah conceived and bare a son to Lamech, and she called his name Jabal. And she again conceived and bare a son, and called his name Jubal. And Zillah, her sister, was barren in those days and had no offspring. For in those days the sons of men began to trespass against the Most High, and to transgress the commandments which he had commanded to Adam, to be fruitful and multiply in the earth.
All right, so they began to transgress the commandments. They began to not make their wives bear children, which is a transgression to the law. Because one of the laws given in Genesis 1, as well with the dietary law, was that we need to have children. Be fruitful and multiply. Most High didn't give us no number. He said be fruitful. Okay, as many as he blesses you with. All right, so that's the purpose of our union. Our purpose is not just for our fleshly desires. Okay, animals don't go in on each other for fleshly desires. They go in on each other. They have mating seasons. Okay, they go in for a purpose. They're doing the law. They're making sure they're being fruitful and multiply. All right, continue.
Verse 20. And some of the sons of men caused their wives to drink a draught that would render them barren, in order that they might retain their figures, and whereby their beautiful appearance might not fade.
All right, and that happens today. We are going to give women that plan A or plan B. Okay, no, you're not getting a baby on me. No big belly. No, you keeping that shape. They want the woman. They don't want the belly on the woman or the child. Okay? This is where your contraceptions are coming from. Your condoms and all of these things. And then they're like, you know what? These people, they're not listening to us anyways. Guess what we got to do? We got to come up with diseases now. Scare you with a disease. No, don't be fruitful, multiply. It's dangerous now. You need this. That's them trying to stop the children coming out. Sterilization, yes. They did that to the Native Indian women and all of these things.
Can we get back to the food? Also putting it inside of the food too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things what we drink, a lot of things what we eat,
Yeah.
they put inside of it to kill off the man's sperm count.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They attack us through the waters, all of that.
Mhm.
Kill off our sperm count. Because according to the scriptures, what I used to see in the scriptures, a man used to go onto a woman and right away, if you went and it went in onto her, your semen, you're having a child. Now people will be together 3 years or something, and
Can't
not
have no
using
children.
contraception and can't have children.
And I heard my brother say yesterday, somebody was taking Tylenol and he was saying to read those things inside of it and explain what it means. A lot of those medicines too has a lot to do with woman and man producing.
Wow.
Like my brother is a famous researcher. If you really research the medicals and those terms, you will see a lot of those things are put in like birth controls or whatever from having kids.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, we were at the barber yesterday, just what as my brother was saying. And this brother brought a bottle of Tylenol. He left his children at the barber shop, went to the drugstore, shopped his drug, and bought a bottle of Tylenol because I guess his son had a fever. Popped it open in front of in the barber shop and put some in. And I'm like, I'm seeing it because like when I see the Tylenol, like the red lights just went off. I was like, alert. And I'm like, listen, dude, what are you doing? Why are you giving him that? I go, can you pronounce the ingredients on the back? Do you even know what they are? He laughed at me. He's like, no. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, so why are you giving it to your child? And I'm like, listen, we have natural home remedies that can deal with fever. I'm like, get some elderberry. You can go to Bulk Mart or a health food store. Buy some elderberry, boil it up, and give it to your child to drink. It don't taste no salt. And it will heal a fever. Somebody's like, well, I'm not on the road. I can't do this on the road. On the road, I need this title now. And I was like, wow. But you see, that's to show you the mindset of our people. You understand what I'm saying? This is, he's not even giving it to himself. He's giving it to his children. The next generation. That's the mindset of our people. And he was just joking, laughing. At the point where I had to stop. And just to, serious stuff doesn't make it more like, yo, this is a serious matter here. I wasn't doing this for a joke. I'm like, yo, these things, there's a lot of things in there that will kill your child. And it will make them sick. Then make them better. And he's like, yo, he's on the road. He needs a quick fix. But yeah, go ahead to what you're saying now.
Continue.
Verse 21. And when the sons of men caused some of their wives to drink, Zillah drank with them. And the childbearing women appeared abominable in the sight of their husbands as widows.
Right. So at those times, the woman that was childbearing, they were like, oh, I don't like that woman. When they had done had their child and seen what happened after, and they didn't like that. They wanted the woman with the nice figure that kept that. Okay, continue.
Whilst their husbands lived, for to the barren ones only they were attached, Salakia. And in the end of days and years, when Zillah became old, the Most High opened her womb.
Alright, so Most High opened back her womb. She became righteous and the Most High opened back her womb, showing you that even if you get these things and tired, the Most High controls the body. If you really repent and you really follow the laws, He will open that up. That's no problem. Alright, let's go to Enoch 69 and 12.
The book of Enoch.
First Enoch, not second Enoch. Second Enoch is no good. I just found out. Okay, if you go into second Enoch, it's from the Slavonics from Russia, and they put a whole bunch of sacrifice in it because the first Enoch doesn't promote any sacrifices. So what they did was pervert a record of Enoch to make it promote sacrifices, and that's what the second Enoch was. And even in the historical thing, they tell you that they know that the second Enoch, that's because no one really talks about the second Enoch. It's not even found in the Ethiopian Bible. You can find the first Enoch, because they knew that at that time when Christ was coming, there was a problem with the sacrifices, and the true followers of Christ didn't take to those type of sacrifices. So they knew that that Enoch was off and was tainted. All right, so we're in the first Enoch 69 and 12. And it's funny too, because in the second Enoch, I'm like, what's the point of this one? I'm like, the first one, he showed him everything. Mm-hmm. The second one, the secrets. He showed him everything again? No. one time. Why would you not need to make two records? Mm-hmm. It's the same exact thing in that book that's in the first Enoch, except they added the sacrifices.
Yes. And this is just to show you that a lot of, including the Bible, they've translated, I'm telling you, these rulers over us, a lot of the books, they've translated it, till they can't translate it over more and add in their words. You understand? It's just that we got to be able to know what is our core doctrine, which is the Bible, and be able to go into these other books to be able to understand and get more detail of what the overview of the Bible is saying. Because the Bible only gives you an overview. You don't go into the details. You all know this. You all know this. Because if you didn't know the story of what the details of Cain and Abel, I would say, okay, why did Cain kill Cain and Abel? You give me those details. You couldn't give me those details by reading the Bible. You needed the book of Joshua. You needed these extra biblical texts to be able to fill in the void that the Bible left out. So when other people's talking about plagiarizing on all these books, they can talk all they want. This is not for them. Okay? Read. Go ahead.
Book of Enoch, chapter 69, verse 12. And the fifth was named Casdasia. This is he who showed the children of men all the wicked smittings of spirits and demons, and the smittings of the embryo in the womb, that it may pass away. and the smitings of the soul, the bites of the serpent, and the smitings which befall through the noontide heat, the son of the serpent named Tobiah.
That's it. Yeah, that's it right there. So we're just going to show you that this angel started to show men how to have abortions. Okay? How to smite the embryo.
Do we see that going on today? Is there abortions going on?
How to attack the womb, how to get the baby from its in the belly. Men didn't know how to do that. Okay, you probably have to kill the woman or something because you have to enter into a cutter open or something. So they didn't know how to do that cleanly without causing the woman no harm. The angel showed them here. This I can tell you, show you how to take the baby out of the womb early. All right, and they're doing that today. And that's what we're going to go into. I'm going to go into a couple articles just to combat what we went into today to show you that these things are happening today. All right. The first one we go into is slaughterhouses. And we're going to go into one about what's going on in China, all right, with the child and the abortions and the wombs and stuff like that. So first, let me get the
When Jamar's finished reading, going through these articles and we wrap it up. But I said, just hold tight, sit down so that we can be able to do the picking up the names for the Feast of Purim. Okay?
We're going to go into an article. This article is an article in Canada, all right? And it's going to show us a little info on the slaughterhouses and what's happening with the slaughterhouses today. Then after that, we'll go into a little info on what comes of the agriculture from these slaughterhouses to the air and all those things to corroborate what I have brought out and all that with what's happening in Noah's time. Okay, so
If a job is so incredibly distasteful that no one wants to do it, what do you do?
all right, so this is an article. This is a news report from Care 2 News, okay? And they wrote an article on this whole thing, a study going on. Continue.
In Canada, sadly, the answer might be to offer those terrible jobs to incoming Syrian refugees.
All right, so these terrible jobs that Canada needs to fill, this is new, okay? Syrian refugees, they want to give these jobs to. And we're going to go into what specific job is it that they want to give to the refugees that Canadians aren't doing, because people need work in Canada. So how are these jobs, how do they need refugees to fill positions? What position do they need these refugees to fill? We're going to go into that. Continue.
Such is the dilemma faced by Canada's slaughterhouses.
So it's the slaughterhouses that need positions filled. Continue.
According to the Canadian Meat Council, CMC, the nation is short about 1,000 meat packing plant workers. The jobs the plants can't fill are the worst ones, of course. Canadian slaughterhouses need strong, healthy labor to man the kill floors and cut the carcasses.
Alright, so this is what they're lacking. They don't have no strong young men that want to come and man the kill floors, okay, and kill the carcasses. All these people want to eat flesh and nobody wants to kill it, apparently. Who's doing the killing? You know, we see everybody eating the flesh. Ask somebody, you killed it? No, you didn't kill it. Who's killing it then? Alright, we gotta kill it. Continue.
Money is tight, jobs are hard to find, and the jobs are critical to the industry. Even so, few Canadians step forward to volunteer to kill and dissect animals for food. Of those who do, many just can't take it.
Right, so they even get volunteers. They try to even get volunteers for it to do it for project science and all this, just to come in, lend a hand for a day or something. Fill a position real quick. They don't even want to do that. Okay? Because there's a lot of blood and murder. The same things we see that Noah was speaking about in Noah's time. No one wants to do that. Okay? It takes a certain mentality for you to go to work and do that every day.
Yeah.
Okay? You would have to have that spirit of Cain in you to go to work and enjoy it.
As they say, you have to have a stomach for it.
Yeah. Continue.
We have people who walk away after a couple hours. Warner Sygris of Canadian Premium Meats told Global News. It's no wonder, is it? You have to be numb to suffering or desperate for work to survive in a slaughterhouse for long.
Alright, so it's said you'd have to be numb to suffering or desperate for work to survive in a slaughterhouse for long. Okay? This is the slaughterhouse and these people telling Global News these things. Okay? Continue.
The psychological toll of slaughterhouse work. The Canadian meat industry employs over 64,500 nationwide. Despite good benefits and steady work, there's been an industry-threatening scarcity of Canadian butchers, meat cutters, and laborers who are willing to accept job offers in smaller, more distant and rural locations, according to the CMC. The reason why isn't hard to discern. For most people, it's horrific work that leaves them reeling. Slaughterhouse workers often experience a form of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, known as perpetration-induced traumatic stress, PITS. PITS is a result from situations in which the sufferer was a casual participant in a traumatic event. Symptoms include depression, dissociation, paranoia, anxiety, panic, drug and alcohol abuse, and dreams of violence.
All right, so this is what the workers get when they work in these places. They start to have dreams. They start to disassociate themselves. They start to get numb to murders and killings because you're doing this every day. You gotta eat. People eat food every day. So if we were doing this on our own accord, we would be experiencing this because you gotta kill your food every day. Every day you would have to go choke an animal, slice its neck, hear it cry out, gut the guts out, smell all of that stuff, and you have to keep doing that and have the stomach for that. All right. And a lot of people don't have the stomach. That's when they like to go to the grocery store and it's nice and cleaned up. You don't know how it came there. Not knowing you gotta actually go out and get it. All right? real men, as they say, go out and hunt for their food and stuff. Okay, all these people want it. No one wants to hunt for it because people know in their spirit it's not right. You wouldn't want to do that, right?
Can I touch on this subject?
Yeah.
I had 2 years ago. It's funny how I'm living through this right now. Because 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I went through this, what we're talking about, the slaughterhouse and the smell of a slaughterhouse. I don't know if a lot of you guys have ever been to a slaughterhouse.
No, I've never been to
You can smell, I'm a vegetarian since 1990. Just the smell of meat sickens me. But I had to be where I had to be, and it's a cow slaughterhouse. So what they do, they put a cow in these little small spots, and they take this something like a gun, and they shoot the cow right there. Alright? So the cow is dead, then they hang it upside down now, and like you say, they slice them and make it, and then take out all the guts. Okay, not to touch base on me. I'm here today because I want to see a new life. My brother, I'm asking my brother for help, but my past life, this place what I'm talking about is in Kingston because I did a federal bid, and the people they were using, and so true they're saying this, they don't have people going to the slaughterhouse because of what we're saying. And they're finding these people from the penitentiaries to go to the slaughterhouse and pay them less than nothing to do what they're doing. And if they don't do this, they can't get to go on the road. They got to work. Because slaughterhouse, they make people in camp do these things. Camp is like they're in jail, but they're not in jail.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of giving you a grasp.
Keep on going.
So they have guys who are doing life bids, 25 to life, who already killed people, and they're in jail, and it takes 10 years for them to go to camp. So for 10 years, they have not killed nothing, and they thought they passed. So I'm going off of true facts, all right? So a lot of my friends at that time was lifers who was going to these slaughterhouses, and they were doing these things. And they will come back and tell me, and they were saying the body, what they kill, does not compare to what they're doing to these animals. Now, you have to remember, when you kill an animal, you have to kill that animal at a peace of mind for that flesh to be good to eat. So now you have the cow in this small spot. You're going to kill this cow now. This cow's mind state is not at the proper mind. So now all this contaminates your meat, believe it or not. You understand what I'm saying? And that's how we get this saying, you are what you eat. You understand what I'm saying? So now we have this bad things what you talk about, the Bible talked about from the time of Noah. The smell in the air, this is constantly going on. So all this negative now, and like my brother said, you find it in the grocery store all packaged. Not knowing what it went through to get that place and all the people that they serve. Like I said, lifers who kill people don't feel the same. Like you're saying, all these little things, because now they got to replay it now because they just killed an innocent thing. You understand what I'm saying? Just to get work, to pay for their food inside jail, and to get a chance to go back out on the road. These are the mind states. They're using people, like how you were saying, they take it to the next level now because the guys that are in jail now are stopped doing it now because before they used to get incentive, X, Y amount of money, now they're only getting less than nothing. So now they took it to the next level now and getting the refugees them now, like you said, which I did not know before these bullets. And this is why they're doing it because of the logic of the mindset. They get the killers them from the jail, and now they're getting the refugees who are coming from across the country because they're used to seeing the violence and all that stuff. So they thought that their mind state was suit for what this is. That's my subject.
And that's excellent. That's to show you that they went to the jail, got the murderers to kill the animals. People don't want to do it. So, they went to it's going to just people who's trying to change their life don't even want to do that no more. Gotta come back and do this, and they're having themselves affected, much less regular people. All right. Continue.
As one worker confessed it to a researcher, the worst thing, worse than the physical danger is the emotional toll. If you work in that stick pit for any period of time, you develop an attitude that lets you kill things, but doesn't let you care. You may look a hog in the eye that's walking around down in the blood pit with you and think, God, that really isn't a bad looking animal. You may want to pet it. Pigs down on the kill floor have come up and nuzzled me like a puppy. 2 minutes later, I had to kill them. Beat them to death with a pipe. I can't care.
All right. This is a quote from a worker. Okay. This is what they gotta do. All right. This is the emotional toll that's happening. This is the thing. This is the days of Noah right here. How much slaughterhouses in these neighborhoods? All right. We have a female in Toronto. She goes to these slaughterhouses and she films them. You can call it Sympathy Slaughterhouse. She goes to them and films them and goes inside and shows what's happening. You'd be surprised at the conditions they live in. All right. We're gonna go to one more article. That's it.
It's crazy, and I'll tell you this. You know, that's why you can't look down on people, especially who's coming from a different walk of life, because even for my brother, if the Most High, and I'm telling you, all our steps are ordered by the Most High, no matter what we've done in our lives. You understand? Because the Most High is bringing us through a circuit to be able to teach us and show us until we can be the end product that He desires us for us to be. But from his experience of his walk, you see, he's able to see all of these things, still retaining, despite dealing with it, the things that he's dealing with, and still come back and even to drop the knowledge and share it with us and say, listen, what you guys saying are true, because why? I've seen this firsthand. I've talked to people who's been there. Like, when we have people like that talking, all you gotta do is open up your ears and listen.
All I gotta say is just, even if you guys don't really are not sure about the meat, just go by a butcher shop and just drive by, stand outside, don't even go inside and just smell.
No,
Just
absolutely
smell.
correct. Absolutely correct.
That alone, if that don't turn you off, then take a step inside.
Oh man, for our people, it's easier said than done because they don't care about the smell. Our people, they don't care. They'll endure that smell and take it just to buy the meat, just to take it home, to cook it up to make it smell like a sweet savor. That doesn't deter our people. We're just gonna go through this last article and then do two more articles, and then we'll be able to pray out, and then we'll do the parade and pray out, and then we'll be on our way. Okay, so bear with us, please.
Livestock poison air article. Giant livestock farms, which can house hundreds of thousands of pigs, chickens, or cows, produce vast amounts of manure, often generating the waste equivalent of a small city. A problem of this nature and scale is tough, and pollution from livestock farms seriously threatens humans, fish, and ecosystems. Below are facts and statistics that tell the story. Livestock pollution and public health. California officials identify agriculture, including cows, as the major source of nitrate pollution in more than 100,000 square miles of polluted groundwater. In 1996, the Centers of Disease Control established a link between spontaneous abortions and high nitrate levels in Indiana drinking water wells located close to feedlots. High levels of nitrates in drinking water also increase the risk of methemoglobinemia or blue baby syndrome, which can kill infants. Animal waste contains disease-causing pathogens such as Salmonella, E. coli, Cryptosporidium, and fecal coliform, which can be 10 to 100 times more concentrated than in human waste. More than 40 diseases can be transferred to humans through manure. Manure from dairy cows is thought to have contributed to the disastrous Cryptosporidium contamination of Milwaukee's drinking water in 1993, which killed more than 100 people, made 400,000 sick, and resulted in $37 million in lost wages and productivity. Livestock pollution and water pollution. Huge open-air waste lagoons, often as big as several football fields, are prone to leaks and spills. In 1995, an 8-acre hog waste lagoon in North Carolina burst, spilling 25 million gallons of manure into the New River. The spill killed about 10 million fish and closed 364,000 acres of coastal wetlands to shell fishing. In 2011, an Illinois hog farm spilled 200,000 gallons of manure into a creek, killing over 110,000 fish. In 2012, a California dairy left over 50 manure-covered cow carcasses rotting around its property and polluting nearby waters. When Hurricane Floyd hit North Carolina in 1999, at least 5 manure lagoons burst and approximately 47 lagoons were completely flooded. Runoff of chicken and hog waste from factory farms in Maryland and North Carolina is believed to have contributed to outbreaks of Pfiesteria piscicida, killing millions of fish and causing skin irritation, short-term memory loss, and other cognitive problems in local people.
So that's the agriculture, all these things doing with the industry, the air, poison in the waters, all these things is going on today as we read that was happening in Noah's time. All right. Now we're going to go on into an article that's going to touch on cannibalism, all right, that we see in the article. And we're going to go to China for this one. And what China's doing is affecting us over here. I'm going to show you. All right.
Washington, May 10th, 2012. China's one-child policy, baby trafficking, and sex trafficking of North Korean women aren't the worst human rights violation happening in the country.
All right. So these things aren't even the worst things happening in China right now. All right. Continue.
Aborting innocent and healthy unborn children and eating them to boost one's stamina and sexual health is.
All right, so here we're tackling two things. We're tackling contraception, we're tackling aborting, and we're tackling eating of the flesh, the cannibalism. They're doing all of this in one act. Okay? That's what they're doing. We're in those times. Continue.
South Korean custom officials recently seized thousands of pills filled with powdered human baby flesh arriving from China. Since August 2011, South Korean officials have intercepted more than 17,000 pills smuggled from China.
All right, so they're sending these things into the Americas through their pills and stuff. They believe these aborted babies and stuff give them stamina and all of these things. All right, we have even stars going and eating babies' placentas and stuff. We have Kim Kardashian and right, eating woman child placentas and all of these things. This is what is going on in the earth today. We are in the last times, the end times. So, all right, continue.
The tiny corpses are then brought, stored in household refrigerators in homes of those involved in the trade before they are removed and taken to clinics where they are placed in medical drying microwaves. Once the skin is tinder dry, it is pummeled into powder and then processed into capsules along with herbs to disguise the true ingredients from health investigators and custom officers.
All right, so they dry out these babies, these aborted babies, and then they pummel the babies and turn them to dust and put them in pills and mix the pills, herbs and stuff in the pills so they can get past customs and all of them things, like their drugs or whatever.
I just want to say something. I forgot what that guy that came on YouTube. I forgot his name, but Jewish guy that was
something Finkelstein.
Finkelstein, right? No, Finkelstein came on and he's like, yo, in the McDonald's, you got chopped up babies in your McDonald's. He was telling all the secrets. He's like, you guys are eating McDonald's every day. You guys know you guys are cannibals. You guys are eating humans. And then, some people think that because they're in another part of the country or they're in a McDonald's in Egypt, they're seeing the cows that are hanging outside and the meat is hanging over the bun and it's all good. McDonald's is a brand. If you go to any McDonald's anywhere in the chain, it's a franchise. They all have to sell the same thing. You can't buy McDonald's and say, well, I'm going to sell what I want to sell. No. You have to go in line with the company's model. Okay? So you don't tell me you're in another country eating McDonald's and it's not the same McDonald's over there in the West. No McDonald's is good. Okay, so if you're over there in another country eating McDonald's, stop. Okay? Just want to put that out there. Go ahead.
Chinese authorities denied allegations that the pills were manufactured in China.
All right, so they're denying this. All right, and keep in mind, China is doing this, and I'm gonna, show something that can show you that this is happening in Babylon too. All right, we'll continue.
A Ministry of Health spokesman stated that an investigation conducted last August showed no proof that pills containing human flesh were manufactured in China. Reports show that the South Korean customs officials aren't the first ones to witness such a gruesome human rights violation by the Chinese. In 2007, Hong Kong-based Next magazine reported that infant fetuses had become a popular health and beauty supplement in China.
So this is popular health and beauty supplements in China. Baby fetuses. All right. Continue.
In Guangdong, the demand for fetus body parts was so high that buyers purchased them directly at the hospitals. One writer says that in China, reports about meals made from infant flesh surfaced from time to time, and online video clips on Chinese cannibalism contains the introduction that eating human flesh is an art form.
Here's the cannibalism. All right. Continue.
In 1995, one human rights advocate recorded allegations of doctors eating dead fetus after performing abortions at Shenzhen hospitals. To confirm the allegation, an undercover reporter from Eastern Express visited a state-owned health center for women and children and asked a female doctor for a fetus. The doctor said that the hospital was out of stock, but reminded the reporter to come back. When the reporter went back to the hospital, the doctor offered 10 fetuses for free. In another state-run hospital in Shenzhen, a nurse said that fetuses were in short supply and the price could go up from $10 to $20. In another clinic, one doctor offered the reporter a full-term fetus and recommended that it had the best healing ingredients. The disturbing human rights abuse comes from a distorted view of unborn children in Chinese culture. Traditionally, ancient Chinese considered ingestion of firstborns, aborted fetuses, and placentas as part of a mother's flesh. An unborn child who has no personhood of his or her own. Hence, mothers believed that they were theirs to reabsorb, to create a new, healthier baby. This type of belief is common in societies practicing cannibalistic infanticide. Chinese folk tradition says that placenta consumption helps increase the supply of sperm, and in traditional Chinese medicine, it is believed to support blood supply. Consumption of fetuses and full-term infants is horrific. Vile practice against humanity. The Chinese government must step up efforts to end the practice.
So I just want to say something. So now I understand why they got that one-child policy over there. So they're like, if you go over that one child, they know exactly what they do with our fetus. Okay, I get it now. All right.
Yeah. Let's show you the Most High knows about this in their government. Let's just jump to 2nd Ezra 15:46 and just read that scripture from me right here. All right, to show you that the Most High knows about these wicked inventions that these guys are dealing with in these end times. And it's the same inventions that was brought from the fallen angels. We read where they got those things, right? Fallen angels showed them that. Now they're over here doing it, and everybody's partaking. Even stars are partaking. How much people did Kim Kardashian, you think, influence into eating placenta when they see her doing it? All right? That's what happens when you follow idols. Once again, they're idols. That's our modern day idol. People are looking for statues and stuff. No, it's the stars. They're the idols today. All right? We're in those times. Read 2nd Ezra 15:46.
2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 46. And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person, woe be unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her.
All right? So China has made themselves like unto Babylon. All right? Continue.
And has decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they might please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee.
All right, jump to the 48th verse.
Verse 48. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions.
All right, read that again.
Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions.
All right, so China is just following Babylon with all their works and inventions. When you go to Revelation 18, it shows you that in Babylon, all the wicked spirits are trapped. So all China is doing is just mimicking Babylon. But they do it openly. Babylon hides it. That's because we don't know what's happening around us. It happens right here with us, same thing that's happening over there.
Just to corroborate what Brother Shamar is saying, you guys have to remember, China is the second it's the second biggest world's economy in the world. So, right there.
Actually, they're the first.
They're the first. They surpass America. Yes, they are the first.
All right. So, and Most High says he sees that they're coming to take that spot next. All right. Is that it right there?
Therefore saith the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death.
All right. That's going to be the end result in the end times for those punishments, those things that they're doing, all those inventions. All right. And that's all.
Just to conclude and finish, we can all see without a shadow of a doubt that we're in the last days. Everybody in here gave their little input, and it's just to show us that we got to get ourselves right, because we don't know the exact time he's coming, but he gave us signs to help us prepare before that time. So we know all of this thing now. We know all of this. Let's do something with it and start preparing ourselves. Okay? And that means stop dealing with the flesh. Yeah, we're going to beat the flesh thing. And if you don't want to stop eating it, that's fine. No problem.
Let them hear from the scriptures. Proverbs 20 and 23.
Yes.
Proverbs chapter 23, verse 20. Be not among wine bibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh.
What? Read it again.
Proverbs chapter 23, verse 20. Be not among wine bibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh.
Okay, Christ was not drinking any fermented wine. He was drinking freshly squeezed grape juice. So when people you're seeing that wine in the Bible, it's not what you think. Go into the Strongs. The Strongs will tell you. Okay?
All right. We're just going to get you what riotous is, just so you clearly hear what he's saying. All right?
One moment.
Crazy.
As you guys kept on going through each thing, each section, like, with Adam and Eve fell, with Noah, we went down the hill, we knocked it out of the it just shows that we keep on falling from the grace of the Most High, and it's like, how do we get back? If people keep on telling us, oh, you're supposed to eat meat, you're supposed to do all of these things, how do we get back?
We'll never get back. It's like us today now, it's like the people who are doing they're dealing with the Bible, but they're doing what they think is right and not really fully understanding it. They come in like Cain seed. And the more we try to listen to them and associate with them, we'll never be able to get back to the Most High. But you see, the minute we come from under that and start being directed by the Most High, His Word and the other books too that tell the truth, then we'll be able to find our way back. But you see the constant fight and battle.
There's always a constant pull, tugging.
You understand what I'm saying? Because Satan don't want you to go back up to that mountain. He still wants you to think that you're holy and you're, oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm righteous. That's what the scripture says, that, listen, your righteousness is as filthy rags. Why do you think the Most High is saying that? Because you guys are thinking that you are righteous and you don't even know that what you're doing, you're making your hand bloody. Filthy. Because there's not one righteous, no, not one. But go ahead, bring what you got.
Among riotous eaters, Strong's number H2151. Hebrew word zalal. Definition: to shake as in the wind. That is to quake. Figuratively, to be loose morally, worthless, or prodigal. Blow down, glutton, riotous, eater, vile.
All right. Vile.
To be worthless, be vile, be insignificant, be light.
Loose morally, all right? These people would say, eat the flesh. These people are not thinking about animal life. They're loose morally, all right? So that's what the scripture, the Most High tells us, not to deal with those people eating the flesh, behaving like that, don't want to change, Leviticus 11, all this. Don't deal with that crowd. They're murderers. They don't know that they have that blood in them from all that flesh they've been eating. All right? And we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, and we're not talking about the people that who is trying to transition. If you're trying to transition from flesh to eating the right food, listen, we ain't talking about you, but we're talking about the ones who moves willfully, hear this truth, and be like, well, my plate is gonna be some meat, some flesh, some veggies, and some rice. I'm gonna mix all three of them together. Those are the people that we're talking to. Yeah.
And the people that were trying to stop eating from meat.
Yeah.
If you're gonna try and you still feel like you have to eat meat, just try to do
in moderation. Yes. So a little by little.
And
yes.
if you are going to get meat, my best advice to you is get it from the halal meat, because they at least care for their animals before they kill it. So you're not going to get that evil kind of...
You're going to get that, and that's another one, but we talk about that when we go back.
I'm just trying to give...
No, I know, you know what you're saying. No.
And if you're going to eat the meat, stick to chicken breast. And if you're going to mess with the beef, because the red meat is very dangerous, because you have to know your body system. It takes a while for meat to digest in your system. So they say red meat takes at least 3 to 6 months to digest in your system. Now you have to remember, if you have this meat inside your body, it generates bacteria in your body, and this is how you get diseases too. And it's all these things. And like I said, I don't know half the stuff you guys know. Like
you know a lot. Don't worry.
A lot on food, because I did my little research and I talked to a lot of people. So if you are going to eat meat, just do it every so often. Make your body get rid of it first before you consume some more.
Exactly. No, that's perfect. You just echoed what I said, but yes, you're absolutely correct.
That's a good way for them to wean themselves off of the flesh.
Exactly. The best way. Okay, if you can't go cold turkey and just stop, right? So with that, we want to say shalom. Any questions? Okay, so before we pray out, let's do the picking of the names for the Feast of Purim. Okay? Giovanni, do me a favor, just stop that for me all done. So shalom, brothers and sisters. Most I bless you. Have yourself a blessed night. See you next Shabbat. Shalom.
We're gonna do
the thing first.
the draw first.
Stop the camera.